Welcome back. We're here at McSwiney, Semple, Hankin-Birke, and Wood, and joining me now is one of the partners here, Michael Wood. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Very nice to be hosted here for the next couple weeks.
Fantastic. We're happy to have you here.
You've got so many specialties at the firm right here, but one of your particular ones is estate law. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. I'm an estate planning attorney primarily, and so quite a bit of what we do is deal with two clients' concerns, typically. You know, what happens if they become incompetent, and then what happens with respect to the disposition of their assets upon their death. And so estate plans typically boil down to looking at the first issue of incompetency, which is the creation of documents such as an advance directive and a durable power of attorney. And those documents deal with financial affairs and also with healthcare affairs. And then the other thing that clients are typically concerned about is the disposition of their assets. And they typically have goals, which include avoidance as much as possible of a court process, limitations on estate taxes and income taxes as much as possible, and typically a quick disposition of those assets after their death. There can be other parts of an estate plan, such as the protection of assets for their children. Clients can be particularly concerned about issues of divorce or lawsuits that involve their children, and they can protect their assets under New Hampshire law. We're one of about 12 favorable states when it comes to asset protection. Many people from across the country come here to form trusts. They don't have to be New Hampshire residents.
Really?
But they do need to use a New Hampshire trustee. And so this has been very beneficial for our banking system in New Hampshire and for our local trust companies such as Charter Trust Company and Ledyard Financial Services. So with New Hampshire trustees, anyone from across the country can form a domestic asset protection trust in New Hampshire. So we have New Hampshire clients, and we also have clients from outside New Hampshire.
Okay, wow, I never knew that. That's great. New Hampshire is the place to be.
It's a place to be.
Now talk a little bit about your elder law.
Yes, and
they go hand in hand a little bit.
They do. They do. Elder law can be a bit broader. In elder law, we always typically prepare an estate plan, but elder law concerns typically will also involve, besides the estate plan, it will involve issues of a plan in place, which is, as we get older, you know, where are we going to live? Who's going to care for us? And we're lucky in New London in particular that we have many different facilities that people can utilize besides in-home care, which is also prevalent in New London, but we have obviously Woodcrest Village here in New London, and we also have Sunapee Cove over in George's Mills. So we're very lucky, and of course having the hospital in town is quite critical. So with that, part of an elder law attorney's job is to help a client formulate a plan, which is, you know, where can they be safe and enjoy the rest of their life. And sometimes, besides issues of estate planning and in-place care, we deal with other issues such as Social Security problems or IRS problems, or whatever else can confront people at any particular age, but tend to also get created a lot at the end of your life. So we assist with that too. That's
great, yeah, because it seems like quite the maze, and the regulations are changing all the time, aren't they?
It is, it is, and so elder law can concern the transfer of assets away to children, and also the preservation of assets, and it's really based on what the goals are of the particular client.
Yeah, great. Talk a little bit about wills and trusts.
Yes, and so many people have wills, and there's sometimes a misconception as to what a will is. So what I like to explain to clients is that in its minimal term, a will is nothing more than a letter of instruction to the probate judge as to how you want your assets that go through probate to get distributed. But a will doesn't always control the disposition of all your assets, depending on what you have. For example, if you have life insurance, then typically that's disposed of through a designation of beneficiary form. And also an IRA, same type of form, designated beneficiary form. Whereas with a will, we're only concerned with the direction of probate assets. And so a lot of people will try to avoid the probate court process upon their deaths because it can be lengthy, it can be expensive, it's open to the public. Anybody can go down and look at your probate file after you die
Right.
and see how you're disposing of your assets and what you value your probate assets at. So what happens is a lot of people will form trusts. And in New Hampshire in particular, a trust is essentially a private document. The only one that really gets to see it is the trustee, who's the manager of the trust,
Yep.
and also your beneficiaries.
Yeah.
And so that process of forming a trust can minimize the probate process and really minimize costs and delays in the disposition of assets.
Yeah, that sounds like more advantageous to
Yes.
many people, and you could certainly, help clients choose one way or the other. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in some situations, people do choose just to use a will based on what their assets are or who their beneficiaries are, because it might be a very simple process, especially if they only have one child. It's a very simple process for people that are leaving everything to the one child they have. But in situations where there's multiple beneficiaries, or again, they wish to take advantage of asset protection for their children, and the different things that can befall them, then they typically use a trust to do that, a living trust to do that.
Super. Well, great. Well, having somebody like you to help demystify all of this is very helpful. We have your phone number and website up on the screen. Thanks so much for hosting. And if anyone has any more questions, they can certainly give you a ring.
Absolutely. Give me a call.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.